Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Washington Examiner article. John Durham issuing subpoenas and interviewing witness report. I've spoken about this before, but it's very important. And it's important to recognize or remember or understand two things. One, there's a special counsel going on right now. People should pay attention to it. Watch this channel. I'm at the forefront of anything that goes on. That was the latest article in the Washington Examiner. There was one about a couple of days prior when President Trump called out, well, it didn't really call him out, but he said, hey, what's John Durham up to? The Durham probe is a special counsel. It will go on indefinitely. It doesn't have an end date. It doesn't have a timeline or a date where it's going to dissolve or stop investigating. We know that crimes were almost certainly committed. You cannot purchase a dossier and utilize, Clinton and the DNC can't purchase a dossier to funnel through the American government and utilize against their direct political rivals, which is exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. That is not, first of all, that isn't even national security. That's not national. Facebook ads have nothing to do with national security because you haven't even proven. There hasn't even been a study. Democrats live their lives from studies and the correlations derived within these studies. There hasn't even been a study on how many votes were altered because of Facebook ads with Clinton and Trump. It's the most absurd, it is the biggest tinfoil hat theory that you could ever come up with. Russia and Putin lured Trump into a hotel room, and they have compromise on him. And if there was a tape, Trump would sell it and make even more money. Millions and millions, hundreds of millions on it. But there's no tape. It was all fabricated. It was a hoax. And the Steele dossier is now not only discredited, but the ODNI report that was based on high to moderate confidence that the Senate confirmed. So you hear this nonsense, well, the Republicans confirmed the intelligence community report. They confirmed an assessment. It would be like saying, no, I think that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. You're wrong. LeBron James isn't the greatest. It's Michael Jordan. How do I know? Because I've confirmed. The GOP Senate panel has confirmed my viewpoint or opinion. It's just an opinion. There was no evidence. There was no direct evidence. Even the circumstantial evidence was purchased. A third-party tech firm. So the reports that they confirmed in the Senate were based on high to moderate confidence. It was the opinion of James Clapper and others. They weren't used, the United States government wasn't used to indict 18 Russian intelligence officials. Go look at the indictment. Company 1 was. Company 1 was outsourced by the Democratic Party. So the whole thing was fabricated, and you had media obsessed, and the mentality today is anything that harms or undermines Trump, politically, that's okay. Because, they want to do away with him politically. They want to prevent him from running by any means necessary. They don't care. They simply don't. And now you have, he has 29, lawsuits. He's a billionaire. The issue with lawsuits is the money. Either going after somebody or defending yourself. That's the issue. He's a billionaire. He doesn't care about the money. So he has, great lawyers also. So Trump doesn't care. The lawsuits, the criminal, the Southern District of New York is they don't ever go after Democrats. They go after Trump and anyone around Trump. So does the FBI. So did James Comey and Clapper and Brennan and Strzok and McCabe. Democrats politicized agencies that shouldn't be involved in domestic politics. Now you have baseball. I can't believe this is unbelievable. If Major League Baseball was so sure, why don't they why didn't they wait for a lawsuit to determine whether Georgia's voting laws were unconstitutional or illegal? Major League Baseball has no right or authority, or no, it should not have even a perspective on domestic politics. It has nothing to do with Major League Baseball. But they're moving the All-Star game from Georgia. Why? Because pandemic-related laws or protocols were being updated and reformed. Okay, all of these laws that extended and allowed, all different types of voting, that was a response to the pandemic. We're not going to have the pandemic in 4 years. God willing, you won't. So, you're not going to. So, the issue with the law is even Biden got 4 Pinocchios for saying that it doesn't allow working people working 9-to-5 jobs. It does. It just actually states 9 to 5 instead of some vague phrase like working hours that doesn't that those words didn't prior to these laws state an actual time frame. But anyway, you look, there's a grand jury investigation. He's issuing subpoenas. It takes time. The second thing, or one of the most important things that people should remember, is the following. John Durham is very likely not going to indict a major name, whether it's Comey or Strzok or McCabe or Clapper or Brennan. He's not going to indict anyone until 2022. If he does prior, he could prior. I'm saying he probably won't because he needs the backing of the Republican Party. Major League Baseball, all of Hollywood, all of social media, every element of society, Hollywood, like I said, late night talk show hosts, if you don't have a Republican Party that actually defends a vantage point and does so in a reasonable manner, if you don't have a Republican Party that actually is unified around a certain perspective, you're going to have industries like leagues, baseball, like Major League Baseball, siding with Democrats, because there's a 99% chance Major League Baseball didn't side with Democrats because the voting law was unconstitutional. Well, how do we know? Because there hasn't even been a lawsuit with a judge saying it's unconstitutional. It's interesting that the commissioner of baseball wouldn't wait. And look what they did with the Astros. I mean, if you want to talk about the integrity of baseball, they gave every one of those players immunity. And there's a difference between trying to look at the catcher and steal signs and what the Astros did with cameras and different codes, and they even were accused, although no one's proved this. One player was accused. One player was accused of having a buzzer in his shirt. I mean, they're all good players, but still, that the Dodgers, they cheated and the Yankees, they won one-run ball games that year. Several years back, 2017, I believe. But 2016, 2017, they were probably doing it for years. Anyway, Major League Baseball gave all the players immunity. Nobody was held accountable. The organization, I think, got a slap on the wrist, or they got some. But, I mean, you could look. The issue with performance-enhancing substances all throughout the 90s, but Major League Baseball pocketed. I mean, Jose Canseco is right in his book. Read his book. Or he has 2 books. They know everything. They pocketed all the money from the steroid era. All the shirts, all the attendance records were shattered. When McGwire and Sammy Sosa were breaking a single season home run mark, okay, Roger Maris's single season home run mark. You don't think that, and the journalist, I forgot his name, the journalist who actually broke the story was ostracized by other journalists. The industry of journalism, or the media, media doesn't like the truth. They like the herd mentality. And that's what you're getting from baseball now. The person who broke that story, I forgot his name, but he was ostracized. Who was the person? I have to find this out. Sorry for the tangent for people who don't like it. Sometimes people are like, stick it. I don't like sports. Like, well, sorry. Check out my background here. Anyway, so hold on. Who broke? He was a great reporter, and he was actually ostracized. All right. Was it Steve Wilstein? 15 years ago today, Steve Wilstein first shed, I think it was Steve Light on the steroid era. Okay, so I think it was Steve Wilstein. And he was like, he had to deal with repercussions from fellow writers. As much heat as he took for his McGuire story in 1998, history has been kind to him in large part because of the piece. He's been nominated for the Hall of Fame and he should be in the Hall of Fame. Nominated, why isn't he in the Hall of Fame already? And so, 15 years ago today, Steve Wilstein first shed light. So, at first, like I said, it mentions here he took heat. This article talks about how, I read this article, talks about how he dealt with a great deal when he, fellow sports writers weren't going to bat for him. Anyway, what does that have to do with baseball? Major League Baseball is the absolute last organization that should be pontificating or trying to, judge or preach morality. The bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. If that law, for example, was unconstitutional or illegal, a court of law should have determined that before Major League Baseball moves its All-Star game. But that's my point. That's how this all relates. John Durham is very likely not going to do anything. I mean, I hope. Look, this is not like, I'm not saying this is 100%, but I don't think he will. I'm hoping that he does. I'm hoping that he does do something before 2022. He's going to need some backing politically. Could you imagine if John Durham comes out and indicts James Comey? Because obviously Comey was basically an extension of the Democratic Party and set up and framed Trump with a dossier that he claims he doesn't know who paid for the dossier. Comey. Do you believe this? And then he saved Clinton from indictments because he claims that Attorney General Loretta Lynch told him to call it a matter. She, under oath, he stated that under oath, she said that he's lying. So then who's telling the truth? That Comey was lying. But anyway, do you think that John Durham indicts James Comey and then what do you think is going to happen? Immediately, Mitt Romney, Ben Sass, Kinzinger, Cheney, oh, well, I just think that's wrong. I think he's a very good person. So Durham doesn't want to go through all that. At least if he has a Republican House, they'll back him up, especially a Trump Republican House. So that's going to be a while. I could be wrong. He might be doing some amazing things, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope that, there's some justice before 2022, but he's going to need backing. And Republicans have nothing in terms of media. They don't even have their own political party backing President Trump. And then they wonder why they lost. It wasn't Trump's fault. The Republicans investigated a Republican president. So what did they expect? What did they expect? And then they blame Trump for his personality. Well, yeah, Trump didn't help matters at times, but he is the only person, he's the only one within the Republican Party to bring energy and passion and enthusiasm and electricity. You think people are going to get, excited for another Romney run? Or Ben Sass? Are you kidding me? Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. I'll be back very soon.